Welcome to Section 2. In this section, Owens explains the two different kinds of innovation and how big companies view the benefits of both kinds. By the end of this section, you'll be able to categorize new ideas by innovation type, and you'll know when you should use the methods contained in this course.
At the heart of this opportunity is a new kind of innovation that's fundamentally different from what companies have been doing over the last 50 years. I'd like to share the knowledge with you so that you can start to become your own thought leader. And when you're meeting with your clients, you can articulate to them this opportunity and help them craft a roadmap into the promised land. So the main idea here is about these two different kinds of innovation that are fundamentally different. The first kind is what companies have been doing for the last 50 years, sustaining innovation. And sustaining innovation is taking our existing business lines and making small changes to them, small improvements, so that we can deliver better performance to our existing customers at a lower cost. These are things like a new flavor of Coca-Cola, a new flavor of toothpaste, a new type of shoe, a new type of insert whatever our company does today here. And these innovations are, for the most part, predictable, and I'll show you why they're very different from what companies are now starting to do. And when you speak to an innovation manager inside a company, most of them are hired to be sustaining innovation managers. The clear tell here is because they don't have any budget, because they're not actually supposed to create new things. They're supposed to find synergies across the existing business units. So this is how companies have been innovating for 50 years, and most innovation people inside companies are sustaining innovation managers. Now, on the other side, we have disruptive innovation. This is what startups have been doing. This is what startups have been doing in the last 10 years. And this is creating completely different products that the goal of being 10 times cheaper, 10 times faster, 10 times better. And also accessing new sets of customers that our old products hadn't accessed before. This type of innovation is very unpredictable, right? Many people doubted the iPhone was a good idea when Apple first announced it. They thought, oh, they'll never be able to compete with BlackBerry. They'll never be able to replace this keyboard that I love. And so both of these types of innovation are important capacities for companies to have, right? They need to be innovating in a sustaining manner to stay at the head of their market. They also need to develop disruptive innovation capacity so that within a decade they can transform into the way the industry is going. And there's a struggle inside companies, of course, to adopt these disruptive practices because of the old way of thinking, and this change is being driven by the new way of thinking. So let me explain to you those two different forms. In the old way of thinking, you have to realize that most of the world's largest companies are publicly traded, and Wall Street biases them towards the short term. So executive leaders are always concerned about quarterly-based results. What am I going to hit next quarter? The average executive may spend only 2 years in a single role, and the average public CEO tenure is only 5 years. So when it comes to sustaining innovation, these are small improvements which could drive new revenue by the next quarter. Sounds awesome. And when you talk about disruptive products, these things take 10 years to reach maturity. Not very exciting for almost anybody because they'll be long gone. In fact, you could be on the third CEO since the time the idea was hatched. Another part of the old way of thinking is that sustaining innovations are very high ROI, right? Because we're leveraging the technology we've already paid money to research, we're leveraging the customers we've already paid to acquire, and we're even leveraging other people's ideas in the company, right? Building social capital. Disruptive innovations actually try to tell other people in the company that their ideas are inferior, right? We're actually cannibalizing our existing lines of business and threatening potentially thousands of jobs in our business. So you can see why, for the last 50 years, companies have not wanted to do this. Until now, when really the new way of thinking is coming about, which is these sustaining innovations are very short-lived. There's only so many flavors of toothpaste that you can come up with, so many different features that you can add to your core products, and eventually someone's going to come up and sideline you and come up with a 10 times better product that is using fundamentally different rules. In addition, disruptive innovations have huge upside. So the iPhone represents 55% of Apple's revenue. Right? 55% of their revenue is one of their newest products, since the last decade. The iPad represents about a quarter of the revenue. Laptops and computers represent 11%. Right? That was their core business before. So disruptive innovations can take a company to entirely the next level, pave them into the new industry. Disruptive innovations, interesting innovations, are also somewhat uninspiring. Right? How many of our customers want to hear about a small change that we're doing, a new version of the same thing? It's not very inspiring. Disruptive innovations actually promise to take our customers and society into the future. This is the best way to attract better talent and to attract better partnerships, to be on the leading edge. So this is the new way that the smartest enterprises are seeing the potential for disruptive innovation.